Welcome. It's Wager Talk Today, and we are live noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday right here on Wager Talk TV, and of course, archived 24/7 for your viewing pleasure on YouTube. And don't forget to listen to us as well. Podcast versions available as you're on the go. I'm Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez. It'll be a Prez free zone Monday through Thursday, and then you get the Prez back on Cinco de Mayo Friday. But in the meantime, that's my co-host as always, Teddy Covers. Teddy, great show as always. We're going to get to some viewer questions. By the way, keep adding questions to the live chat throughout the show. Add them in the YouTube comments below after the show. We will answer them every day this week. Teddy, who do we have on for Tuesday?
Eric Pauly is going to lead us off, now promoted to the Director of Analytical Content at the Gold Sheet. Gold Sheet, of course, $2 Tuesday, a handicapper today. He's going to talk a little prop when it comes to the Angels and the Cardinals in MLB, and he's also going to talk some Astros and Giants as well, a pair of MLB breakdowns. What bettors learn? I'm talking NFL season wins. Numbers popped out yesterday. First look, virgin numbers. That's going to be fun. Andrew McInnis is going to join us next. He's going to talk the Oilers and the Golden Knights in NHL playoff action. And he's also going to talk a player prop. Evgeny Dadonov. We'll talk about him. I don't even know what team he plays for. Andrew McInnis does, though. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, we have the BS report, betting strategy. We're going to talk hockey handicapping today with betting strategy and Dave Sharapan, giving us a view from the other side of the counter to close out the show. So let's get into it right here, right now. As you mentioned, Steve, a loaded Tuesday edition.
You know, Teddy, the NFL always trumps everything. We joke about how even when the NBA playoffs are going on, the NHL is going on, that the NFL sneaks its way in. Whether it's the draft a couple days ago, right? That was front and center on Thursday, probably upstaged the NFL and the NBA. And I'm not going to even wait. We're going to get right into the NFL here. I want to know your thoughts on the opening lines here for season wins and the most bet sport in the Americans, the NFL. We might be several months away, but people are already starting to look at some NFL action. These numbers, by the way, are going to really jump around. And, you know, the one disadvantage, of course, is your money's tied up for, you know, more than 3/4 of a year right now until the Super Bowl. But there's great value as well.
Yeah, we've got virgin numbers to talk about when it comes to season win totals after the draft. This week, we tend to see a lot of books posting these first numbers. And I'm just going to run through them real quick. We've got 32 of them to talk about. So I don't, and honestly, this is a first look, first thought, gut reaction that you're going to get from me right here. Atlanta Falcons over under 8.5. My gut reaction, I like that team. I think Atlanta's going to be better. Buffalo over under 10.5. That looks low for the Bills. Their schedule's brutal, though. Bears over under 7.5 wins. That feels about right. Cleveland Browns over under 9 wins. They're getting a little bit of respect in the marketplace, perhaps more than I thought they would. The Denver Broncos over under 8.5 wins. I'm not convinced that Russell Wilson's problems will be solved with a new QB. Gut reaction there is under. Green Bay Packers over under 7.5 plus money on the over. Packers might be all right. Be interested to see if they're better with Jordan Love than they were with Aaron Rodgers. That's a possibility. Indianapolis Colts over under 6.5 wins. I think the Colts are going to stink. It's rebuilding time in Indy. I wouldn't play them over. KC over 11.5, juice to the over. They're going to be real good. The Chargers over 9.5, a little bit of juice to the over. LA expected to be comparable to where they were a year ago. Miami Dolphins getting some respect over under 9.5, minus 110 both ways. Not much respect for the New England Patriots at the start of the betting marketplace for NFL season wins. Patriots lined as a 7.5 win team over under for this year. The Giants expected to be 500. They're lined at 8.5. The Eagles over 10.5, minus 150 to the over. That might be 11. Had a lot of books. Everyone loved what Philly did in the draft. The San Francisco 49ers over under 11 wins this year. Tampa Bay over under 6. Markets are expecting the Bucks to be a bottom feeder. I don't necessarily disagree, but from a strength of schedule standpoint, man, that NFC South faces a very weak slate of opponents. The Washington Commanders over under 6.5 wins, juice to the over for Washington. Baltimore Ravens over under 9.5. They got Lamar Jackson. Carolina over under 7.5. Panthers are an interesting team. My gut reaction, I don't know. Let's see what the quarterback situation plays out there. That said, Carolina's got some pieces. Cincinnati, look at the respect for the Bengals. Over under 11.5 wins. They're right there with Kansas City as the best teams on paper in the NFL when it comes to season wins. Dallas, over under 9.5, juice to the over. Detroit, over under 9.5, juice to the over. The Lions, the favorites in the NFC North. The Houston Texans, well, they've got the lowest total out there. 5.5 wins for the Texans. You're not going to catch me betting the worst team in the NFL over the total. They're under if I'm going to get involved. Jacksonville over under 9.5, building off last year's success. Not much expected from the Las Vegas Raiders. 7.5 wins. And big juice to the under for the Raiders at 7.5, minus 155 for the opener. Again, these are superbook.com numbers. There are many books that opened in the last 24 to 48 hours. I'm just reading one of them. The Rams over under 7.5, lots of juice to the under. The Vikings expect to be a 500 team this year, over under 8.5 wins. The Saints, look at this for the Saints, 9.5 wins for New Orleans, which at first glance looks very high until you look at their schedule and they don't play anybody. The Jets over under 9.5 wins, juice to the over, minus 145. Pittsburgh expected to be 500 again, over under 8.5 wins. The Seahawks also 500, lined in that range, over under 8.5 wins. And last but not least, the Tennessee Titans, lined at 7.5 wins. My gut reaction with Tennessee is to look at them under the number. So they're the openers for the NFL season wins. Virgin numbers. We're going to start attacking them this week. NFL prep time starts in May. Now's the time to take advantage of numbers that probably aren't going to be there a month, 2 months, 3 months from now. Not sure yet when the NFL season win report is going to come out. That's 97 and 47 over the last 21 years, including a 15-4 mark with the 5% big ticket plays. I expect maybe June is my goal. We'll see if we get there. But I'd like to have these out earlier rather than later. Virgin numbers, back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, first glance, it's amazing how many single-digit win totals, right? I mean, they play 17 games now. It just shows the parity of the NFL that there's only 4 teams lined 10 or higher out of 17 games. So that's basically saying everybody else is going to have 7 losses or more. And, Teddy, it's something that in the past we used to see 12s even out with the 16-game schedule, 11s.
It's the same way at the bottom end.
Right.
Every team is, it's between 7.5 and 9.5 wins is the vast majority of the market, which tells us they're expecting parity in the NFL again this year. Either that or a lot of mediocrity.
Right, and that's where you find the value. Find those outliers. There'll be 1 or 2 outliers at each end, of course, and that's where you want to look for. One thing also, obviously, there's more intrinsic value to the under with these because a lot of this is priced to how things should play out. So if there's a major injury, like at a quarterback position, that's going to be a huge blow to the under. So if you're playing overs, I usually want to look for a little bit more of the bottom feeders just because there's more upside there. A team like Buffalo or San Francisco that's already priced in the double-digit range. Although those lines are a little low because they could win 12, 13 games. Somebody probably will. One other thing, Teddy, I'll mention about the schedule is that it's not released yet. They used to do it in April the last few years since COVID. They've done May. It looks like the target date for the actual dates will be May 11th, around that time. But we do know who these teams are playing home and away. So that's why they're able to put these numbers out. How much, Teddy, do you think these lines will move once the exact dates, and scheduling situation, road, home, dichotomies play in as far as when they have to travel back-to-backs and stuff?
Not much. I mean, really not much. We'll see a lot of movements early. And again, these are Westgate numbers. You're going to see numbers, virgin numbers from many books. And what happens? It becomes, as bettors bet into each individual book's win total, then you start to see market numbers. We don't have that yet. All right. We've got this book's got this opinion, that book's got that opinion. Any bet you're taking, you're kind of picking off a weak number here or picking off an off-market number there. When you start talking about the market starting to mature, we're a good month away from that, at least. Our markets being mature. They're starting to mature today. As soon as you start taking money, the markets start to mature. But we talk about a mature market where the lines aren't going to move that much between now and the start of training camp. Still a few weeks away.
Yeah, look forward, by the way, tomorrow to talk with Arthur DeCesar, risk manager at the Superbook. about these numbers as well. So it's perfect timing. They come out Tuesday. We'll have Art on tomorrow on Wednesday. Going to get to Eric Pauly in a little bit to talk some baseball. We got Dave Sharapan at the end of the show to talk Vegas as well inside the sportsbook world. But let's stick with a little bit of the off sports. And I say that because it's a Prez free zone, so we don't get a lot of hockey this week. But we couldn't have a Canadian free week. So we got Andrew today, Carmine tomorrow to talk NHL playoffs. And Andrew McInnis will bring you on to dig into the NHLs. We had a ton of game 6s and 7s, a lot more competitive than the NBA playoffs so far. And that actually is also going to lead into the end of this segment and our viewer question as well about the NHL. But Andrew, welcome to the show. Let's start off with a series to look at here. What do you think of this Oilers and Vegas Golden Knights, Teddy's Vegas Golden Knights series?
It's going to be a great one. Thanks for having me, guys. Great to be here with you. Edmonton Oilers, fresh off their series victory over the LA Kings. Vegas Golden Knights, fresh off their series win over the Winnipeg Jets. Guys, I don't usually, look at the big favorites right away, but Edmonton stuck out to me right away for one of many reasons. But the number one reason for me was that LA, I think, was one of the better defensive teams in the Western Conference playoffs. And in the 4 games that Edmonton won, they scored a minimum of 4 goals, sometimes 5, and in one of those games, 6. I simply do not believe that Vegas can match up with Edmonton line for line. This is the deepest, and this kind of goes with what I'm going to talk about later on in the BS segment. This is the deepest Edmonton Oilers team they've had in the last 5 years. Everybody always talks about Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, probably two of the, some people would argue top players in the entire league on the exact same team. But now you throw in Zach Hyman, you throw in Yamamoto, you throw in Nugent Hopkins. There's all kinds of players throughout that lineup that make a difference. And what did they go and do at the trade deadline? They didn't go and pick up a new forward. They didn't pick up a superstar goal scorer. They picked up a stay-at-home defenseman, a guy that they simply brought in to play defense and be out there on the penalty kill. And that is Matthias Ekholm, and he has done exactly that. I look at this matchup, and I think that there's more weapons for Edmonton. But not only that, they're coming off a series against the best defensive team, I thought, in the West, and they still multiple times were able to put up 4+ goals on them. And here's the thing, though, guys. Winnipeg, they were definitely outclassed. Vegas had a great series, but Winnipeg lost their best defenseman. They lost their best goal scorer, and their second best goal scorer was injured prior to the series even started. So I think it's fair to say we haven't really seen exactly what Vegas has to offer, simply because they probably played the worst team in the wild card without those key players. Edmonton has the advantage to me. This is the best I've seen them play in many years. They're playing well defensively. Their goaltending is solid. At -150, I'll take them over the Vegas Golden Knights.
So here's my question, Andrew. How on earth can you lay any price in any NHL series when not just round one, but year in, year out, the dogs cash? I feel like if you just bet every dog in every NHL series, at the end of the playoffs, you'll make money every year. Am I wrong? Am I wrong in thinking that? It doesn't seem like this year is that different from any other year. And once again, this year, what do we see? 4 upsets in the first round, plus price teams winning. How do you lay a price here?
I would argue this year is a little bit more than usual. A lot of times you will see a team, covering big, winning these big underdog bets throughout a series, but it's not that often you see, teams like Seattle and Florida winning in the same round in the same year. But I get it. And I look at this series and I simply, just like I said, I do not think it's two teams that play similar styles, but I don't think Vegas is as deep. And I look at their goaltending situation and I look at the experience level. It's not very big there for Vegas. Defensively, they weren't tested enough against Winnipeg. The one thing I will say that worries me, Teddy, is that I didn't really get to see them get battle tested besides game 1 against Winnipeg. That does worry me a little bit. But from this Edmonton Oilers team, when I saw them play, like I said, I believe LA was the best defensive team in the Western Conference this year. And the fact that Edmonton was able to put up 4+ goals in 4 games against them tells me they should be in good shape against this Vegas team.
Andrew McInnis, and don't forget, excuse me, you can find him on Puck Time as well in the mornings here on the network. And he's a hockey expert, and we're going to get to a hockey question here in just a little bit. Before I do so, Andrew, though, first of all, tell us about the great cross-sport promo you've got, and also let's look at a player prop as well for the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, guys, I look forward to the summers. Obviously, I get so excited about the NHL, but Canadian football is a sport that I've been betting for many years. I've collected profit several years in a row now with the CFL. And, it's a really beatable sport. The books have started to adjust a little bit more, and the openers aren't getting as hit as they used to. But CFL is a 21-week sport. So I've decided to make a package right now. Buy the CFL early bird special, and you get the remainder of my NHL playoff plays pretty much thrown in for free in that package. You're getting sides, totals, props, series wagers, and again, 21 weeks of CFL action. So I look forward to that, and I will have a win totals report this year, like Teddy does for the NFL, for CFL. And I'm telling you, I think you guys could look at some of these lines and bet them just off the off the steam that you see in the CFL. So I recommend, guys, if you want my NHL picks, you want to join me in the CFL, it's a really great package to look at.
Yeah, I will say, Andrew, as the sports become less viewed and popular probably by mainstream America and the other countries, the value probably goes up as far as the softness of those lines versus NFL versus CFL, college basketball, versus NBA, NHL. So Andrew's pretty good at finding these value sports, and the Canadian sports definitely fit that bill. And I would think NHL player props, Andrew, fit that mold as well. I mean, there's value with all player props. Those lines can be very soft at times, but especially NHL player props. Is there something you're looking at here in the playoffs?
Yeah, I want to look at Evgeny Dadonov tonight from the Dallas Stars. He plays in the third line for them, and I want to look at him to record a point. Guys, for the top players, top line, second line, even these guys out there on the power play, you're going to get just horrible odds for them to just record a point. But for guys deeper down there in the roster, you're going to get a pretty good number, like the one we're getting today here. And when I look at this Dallas versus Seattle matchup, the one thing I look at that kind of separates these teams is the bottom six. I think top six wise, these teams match up well against each other. It's the top six players, what I'm referencing. But Dadonov finding himself down there in the third line, I believe he will get some really good matchups. He'll go up against weaker defensemen, weaker forwards defensively, and he's a very experienced player. And the best part about when you're betting a player point prop, they don't have to score. They don't have to get a primary assist. They just need to get a point. Secondary assist, primary assist, goal, tip in front of the net, whatever it might be. I believe that depth will be the biggest cause of damage for Seattle in this series. I won't be looking at Dadonov just tonight, guys. I plan on looking at him throughout the entire series. He will have a great one. And he's someone that's going to fall under the radar. I don't think many people will be talking about this guy.
Evgeny Dadonov to record a point. I have no follow-up, Andrew. All I have is to ask you what you have to promote.
Well, again, I have that great special, the CFL and NHL special. I also have a BOGO going on with Carmine Bianco. He has been on an outstanding role in the playoffs and, of course, during this regular season. I'm locked and loaded with several plays going tonight, despite just the 2-game card. So join me at WagerTalk.com. And as we always say, or as you say, especially Teddy, don't buy my play today. Buy the package, buy the BOGO we have going, and join me for the rest of the season. So thanks a lot, guys.
I'll tell you what, Andrew, I've got a follow-up for you. Since Teddy won't follow up hockey, I'll follow. In fact, I don't have a follow-up. But we have a viewer, Teddy, who has a follow-up, right? Look, we're going to do our BS segment with Andrew on here today because we have such a loaded show. And this one came in on the YouTube comments after the show yesterday. So once again, questions, handicapping questions, general sports handicapping questions, put them in the live chat, or if you're watching the replay or you think of them later in the day, drop them in the YouTube comments below. I read all the comments, I reply back, and now we're answering some on the air as well. And Kum Tham is asking, how do you handicap hockey with all its randomness? It seems, Teddy touched on this. Lower seeds win all the time. We just saw the powerhouse Boston Bruins lose as a 1 seed in the first round. But, it's interesting, guys. The Bruins were minus 300. The Bucks as a 1 seed, the overall favorite, were 13-1 in the first round when they lost. So we do see less upsets in the NBA. But the question from Kum Tham, Andrew, is how do you handicap hockey with all its randomness? It seems like lower seeds upset higher seeds more than any other sport. I'll weigh in first. I kind of get where he's coming from, but I don't necessarily think it's randomness. I've always said hockey has less probably meaningful stats, right? Because a team that can shoot the other team on goal might still lose or win. Also, it's like baseball. There's more randomness. Upsets occur because there's less points. The NBA, we're talking about 240 points scored. In hockey, we're talking about 6 goals. So every team's goal is a third of their output for the night. So I think the lower scoring game makes upsets more likely, and goaltenders and pitchers, of course, in baseball and hockey can dominate. That's just my general thought, Andrew. But I definitely, as a hockey handicapper, hockey expert, what are you looking at when you handicap hockey? What are your thoughts on the sport and the randomness factor, I guess?
There's so many different ways I could take this, but I will say, Steve, as you mentioned that, one of my good friends, he's watching with me the other day, and he's a soccer fan. He played soccer at the collegiate level, and he said, hockey's all about luck. It's all about these crappy goals that go in. But here's what I'll say. Number one was a website called dailyfaceoff.com. That's dailyfaceoff.com. And that's where you can go to find all the lineups, the line pairings, who's playing with who, and you can find out the complete picture of how the coach is going to be structuring the team. I always have that website up on my tabs every single day for each roster to make sure I know what the matchups are going to be, who's playing with who, and what to expect out of those teams. Now, I say the word depth all the time. Here's the thing. In the NBA, and guys, feel free to chime in if I'm wrong here, but in the NBA, a couple players can really, really win you a game or a series. In the NHL, that cannot happen. It does not happen, and it will not happen. You have to have depth. Look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, what they did for their 3-year run of going to the Stanley Cup final. They got production from their defense. They got production from their fourth line, third line. And you look at Colorado last year. There's a reason why Colorado got bounced in the first round, and it's not because McInnis didn't play well. It's not because Rantanen didn't play well. It's because they had nobody on their third line, nobody on their fourth line to produce. So the number one thing I will say to people is make sure a team has multiple options if the top players aren't playing well or if they aren't scoring all the goals. Number two, everyone talks about special teams and goaltending and things like that. I think you need to have physicality and grit on your team in order to be a playoff team. What happened to the New York Rangers last night is a perfect example of too many superstars, not enough hard workers. Every single goal the New York Rangers scored in their round one series were all flashy and fancy and pretty and highlight reel goals. The NHL, you don't want that. You don't want your team scoring all these highlight reel goals. You need guys that aren't scared to go in the corners, go in front of the net, and score that way. So when you're handicapping, and if you guys ever hear somebody say, well, my team has McDavid, my team has Matthews. No. I know if somebody knows hockey, if they're talking about third line players, right? That's how I can tell if they know what they're talking about. Anybody that even follows sports can list a few top players in the world. What will make a team special is the guys that score from the dirty areas, the guys that nobody's heard of, making a big difference. So when you're handicapping these games and you're looking at upsets, you want to look at Florida's third line, Florida's second line, and wonder, what were they able to do to beat Boston? They were able to score from the dirty areas, work well behind the net, and be physical. Frankly, the teams that were out in the first round, like Colorado and like Boston, they were frankly too fancy. They did not score enough rough around the edges goals. So I will say is don't just look at the flash. You want to look at those hardworking players as well down the roster. Would you guys agree with me on that? In the NBA, a few players can take you to the promised land. In the NHL, I think it's quite the opposite.
That's not the case, as you mentioned, in the NHL. My quick thoughts on this are real simple. All right. Upsets happen in every sport. All right. Random things happen in every sport. All of a sudden, the Philadelphia Phillies get hot, make it to the World Series. It's not unique to hockey. That said, year in, year out, if you're betting dogs in the NHL series, you're probably showing a profit when all is said and done. Andrew, talk about your new Twitter Spaces live chat. What's that?
I'm extremely excited about it, Teddy. We are starting a Twitter Spaces every single weekday at 4 o'clock Eastern time on the WagerTalk Twitter account. Mostly prop talk. We're going to talk sides and totals as well, but a chance for us as WagerTalk handicappers to interact more with the community. We have such a great following here on WagerTalk. You guys see it right now in your live comment section, afterwards as well on all these shows we do. It's a chance for everybody to join us live in Twitter Spaces. You just hop on the top of your app on Twitter, join us. Today, I have Andy Lang and Carmine joining me, breaking down NBA and NHL props, and we will be having speakers on. Anybody that's a fan of Wager Talk, if you want to talk sports with us, we will hand you the microphone and we'll hear from you. So, Teddy, overall, it's a great opportunity to engage with the audience and let all the people that watch our shows know we care about them and we want to hear their opinions as well.
4 o'clock Eastern at Wager Talk. It's very simple. Go to Twitter, follow at Wager Talk. 4 p.m. Eastern weekdays here for the Twitter Spaces. And once again, another way to interact. Comments, questions in the live chat, comments and questions in the post-show chat here on YouTube as well. We answer those on the air like we just did. All right, 30 seconds. Going to take a commercial break. We just talked some NFL. We just talked some hockey. We're going to come back and talk some MLB baseball, maybe even a little bit of NBA playoffs. 30 seconds. We'll be right back.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
We're back, Wager Talk today, and we just talked some NFL season win totals at the top of the show, also some NHL playoffs and how to handicap hockey. But now we're getting back to another major sport in America, and that's MLB, Major League Baseball. And we're going to bring on Eric Pauly from the Gold Sheet. And we're bringing Eric on not only because he knows baseball, but because he is also part of the $2 Tuesday package at WagerTalk.com. Quite simply, a huge discount on the super strong best bet from the Gold Sheet tonight on Tuesday for just $2 in MLB. And Eric, welcome to the show. And once again, congrats on your new title as Director of Analytical Content at the Gold Sheet. Hope to see you out in Vegas again on August 19th at the meet and greet, the basketball outing like last year. And Eric, let's jump right into it. Give us an MLB prop. You know, we talked NHL player props, but baseball player props are getting pretty popular as well. What's something you're looking at tonight on Tuesday in MLB player props?
Well, we got no volume for them. You hearing them?
Someone's muted.
Yeah.
Eric, are you muted or Dan mutes you? He didn't want to hear the player prop.
No. He doesn't want to give us a player prop. He just wants to talk. No. All right. We'll figure out what's going on with Eric. In the meantime.
Well, Teddy, I'll tell you what. Just in case, Patrick Sandoval under 5.5 Ks in the Angels-Cardinals game. What are your thoughts on that one, Teddy?
I sure as hell wouldn't play him over. You know, that's although I mean, when we talk about disappointing lineup so far, the Cardinals have to be at or near the top of the list. You know, they've not hit well. They've struck out too much, which is probably why this number is as high as it is. Has more to do with St. Louis's offensive issues than with anyone expecting Sandoval to suddenly turn and be an ace. What about you?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's a two-part handicap, right? Obviously, you're looking at the pitcher, but you have to look at the lineup he's facing as well. And you also have to look at other lineups that he's faced, right? Because, you know, we keep using Oakland A's as a textbook example, which, by the way, the Royals have only been like 1 or 2 games ahead of the A's all spring so far. So there's a few really bad teams out there. But you do have to look into that. And, you know, I bring that up as well because, you know, you have to put a little asterisk next to the stats this weekend, right, with San Diego and San Francisco. Eric, we'll bring you back in. We're going to talk about the Giants in a moment, is why I wanted to mention that. But give us your thoughts on that player prop, Sandoval under 5.5 Ks tonight.
Yeah, I heard Teddy get that in there, that he certainly would not play the over. So that definitely makes me feel better here. And I think the under is the only way to look at this player prop for Patrick Sandoval, starting pitcher for the Angels tonight. He's only gone over this number one time this season. And in his last start against the Oakland Athletics, he only had 5 Ks on 105 pitches. And looking at his percentile rankings, he ranks 22nd in K percentage, 52nd in chase rate, which is okay, and actually a very impressive 80th percentile in whiff percentage. However, looking at St. Louis as a team, they whiff less than the MLB average. And in terms of their strikeout percentages, they have a 19.3% K rate, which is among the bottom of the league at home, and a middle of the pack 23.2% K rate against left-handed pitching. So the last time the Cardinals saw a lefty starter, it was Clayton Kershaw, and he actually rung them up for 9 innings. But Patrick Sandoval is certainly no Clayton Kershaw. 5.5 is too many to ask for, even if he goes 100-plus pitches. So I like Sandoval going under 5.5 Ks tonight in St. Louis.
And Eric, the gold sheet is the $2 Tuesday handicapper for today. And of course, you as a director of content or your new title, talk about that new title for the gold sheet and what's going on for $2 Tuesday today.
Yes, I'm very excited about the new title for the gold sheet. It's been about a month plus in the works. And obviously the gold sheet is something that is so well renowned in the sports betting industry. And it was a little bit before my time, but now what time is better than now to make a real comeback? So obviously the gold sheet had so much respect in everything that they did back a little ways ago. And now, of course, with a lot more of a modern spin on analytics, sports betting in general, odds, line shopping, player props, all these different things that are now emerging in the sports betting scene. We're trying to make everybody better bettors through using our platforms. Of course, we have free picks on our website. Of course, we also have our paid picks on WagerTalk and Sports Memo, including our $2 Tuesday, 5% MLB play today. But the point of the gold sheet is to help our viewers and our subscribers learn more about being better bettors in general, while also providing insights, analytics, and more. So right now we have an MLB stat sheet for $15 a week, $2 a day. You get 2 picks included with that, as well as breakdowns of news and notes around the MLB, advanced stats, bullpen usage, hitter/pitcher splits, all that great stuff for $2 a day. So a ton of exciting things, and the only way to go is up. We are continuing to build on new developments every single day. So I'm very excited, and there's a lot of things to be looking forward to.
That's Eric Pauly, and once again, he's part of the gold sheet, and that's their first 5% best bet of the MLB season, and it's for just $2. Normally that'd be a $35 play, but you get it for $2 because it's $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. And Eric, I hinted on the altitude and the phony stats for this past weekend for San Diego and San Francisco, and we talked about both teams yesterday on several shows. They talked about the San Diego game here, also on the MLB first pitch. And by the way, Eric will be back at 2 o'clock Eastern on the MLB show today, talking more baseball. There's also a gold sheet play of the day every day on the baseball show, just like we did with the college basketball show. So lots of free baseball today from Eric and the gold sheet here on the network. I actually had a free play last night on San Diego. It was the game that was just a bit outside. It was my last cut. I was worried about the return home, so I stayed off it. Otherwise, it would have been a strong best bet. Shouldn't have done that. They won 8-3. But I also mentioned on the baseball show that I thought the team that was in the worst spot was San Francisco, traveling again after that game in Mexico and having to go to Houston. And it did work out that way as well. The Astros got them yesterday. How do you think this one will play out tonight?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a very similar result to the 7-3 beatdown Houston gave San Francisco yesterday. And just looking at this matchup, I mean, in terms of my power rankings, which go live on the Gold Sheets website every single Tuesday, it's up for this week today. I have the Astros as the number 6 team in my power rankings, the Giants all the way down at 22. So not going to be thinking too much into it, just going to lay the 1.5 runs with the much better team at home. And just looking at the starter for Houston, Hunter Brown, this kid is really electric. A 2.37 ERA, a 2.57 FIP, and a 9.49 K through 9. But the percentile rankings are really where I'm falling in love with this kid and what he can do. This big right-hander, he's 87th in expected slugging percentage percentile, 80th percentile in barrel, and 79th in expected ERA and expected WOBA. Then on the other hand, you have Anthony DeSclafani going for the Giants, and he's 9th in hard hit ball percentage, 12th in barrel percentage, and 30th in exit velo, meaning teams are barreling him up and taking and hitting baseballs really hard. Also, a lot of talk about the Astros bullpen. Last night they did throw a ton of pitches because their starter got hurt before even recording an out, Luis Garcia. But looking at all the arms the Giants used in Mexico City and also last night, the Giants bullpen is not in much better shape than the Astros. As we know from Houston, they have a stable of arms in that pen, despite the fact that some of their top relievers have pitched in back-to-back games. Their 4 through 6 relievers are still probably better than the Giants' top couple of relievers. So I expect Hunter Brown to have a great game and be on the mound for at least 7 innings. Then I think that the Houston offense can provide a lot of run support and have at least a 2-run lead against this Giants pitcher, Descafani, who I'm not impressed with at all. The Giants do mash, but again, this is a better pitching staff, and those numbers are definitely inflated. I'll lay the 1.5 with the Astros at home tonight.
Look at the Astros to win by margin against the San Francisco Giants, says Eric Pauly from the Gold Sheet. Eric, talk about what you have going today with that $2 Tuesday play from the Gold Sheet in MLB.
Yeah, so we have a 5% best bet run line play for $2 Tuesday. Very excited about that. As Steve also mentioned, I will be on First Pitch at 2 o'clock, breaking down 2 more games, one other 2% play from our card as well. So there's going to be again, like you said, a lot of free Gold Sheet today, as well as just a $2, 5% best bet. So if you are inclined, please take a look at that. And also take a look at goldsheet.com's MLB stat sheet. Like I mentioned, $2 a day, $15 for the week, 2 picks, and all these statistics on key MLB games every single day right to your inbox to help you, again, become a better.
Eric Pauly, Director of Analytical Content at the Gold Sheet. And once again, they've got their first 5% best bet of the season, and you get a substantial discount because it's $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. Thanks, Eric. We'll see you soon in about an hour at 2 o'clock Eastern on the MLB show. Teddy, we haven't gotten to the NBA playoffs yet, so let's bring on Dave Sharapan, and maybe we'll start with a little NBA playoffs. We've covered NFL, NHL, MLB. Dave Sharapan, Sportsbook Consigliere, can cover it all. Now, he's got the creamsicle Buccaneer stuff on, so I guess he wants me to ask him a little NFL with the season wins coming out. So we'll start with the NFL, Dave. We'll get to some NBA after that.
Has nothing to do with the NFL. It has nothing to do with the NFL. I was very confused this morning. First of all, congratulations to Eric getting that job. I was in line to get that job, and I hadn't heard anything yet. So I feel an ode of congratulations, and I got to tell Johnny, don't even bother calling me back now. So that's good. Congratulations. Second of all, the Pirates are in Tampa today, and everybody knows the Pirates as the Bucks. The Bucks are in Tampa. I did a video for the Pirates for the pregame show already. I got very confused. I wore the Bucks stuff, wrong Bucks stuff. The one guy that makes lines across the world offshore hasn't put up a number yet for the game. It's unbelievable. It's blank everywhere you look on the WagerTalk screen. Nobody knows what to do because nobody makes numbers anymore. There's a lot of guys, like, it's minus 145 or 150, and the total's 8.5. Just put it up. They won't do it because it might be 7.5. It might be 8. God forbid somebody would put it up and take a bet. Sorry, I just had to get that rant off my mind. Oh, go ahead. Good to see both of you. No drama Tuesday. No Prez Tuesday. Great to see both of you. I can't believe
no drama. He's in your neck of the woods, I think. Be careful.
So
he doesn't call me when he comes anyway.
So is your number on the Rays minus 145, minus 150, minus 155? Because my blank number on the Rays would be a lot higher than that today.
Oh, I mean, what about the Buccos? What are you talking about? The Pirates are the best team in the National League, record-wise. You see their run differential? Yes. What the hell's going on? You're gonna undervalue them a little bit?
For real, Dave?
Was this your big game breakdown? Are you picking the Rays today, Teddy? That stuff's personal. Look at this nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me. What are you talking about? What are you going to make them, 180?
Are they for real, Dave?
You're crazy. They're going to bet them. They're going to bet the Pirates. If you want to need the dog today, make it a little lower. If you want to need the favorite, put a Teddy's number up and let them take the Pirates. All the rhombuses and parallelograms. Teddy, if we make that number minus 180, they're going to come in mountains, bags of money on the Pirates.
You think? You think that's too high? All right, well, we'll see what the markets do. No one's put up a number yet, Dave.
You believe it? It's 9:40 West Coast time. Every book is open in the world, and not one guy wants to put up a number on the Pirates and the Tampa
I got a number
Bay
for
Rays.
you guys. I got a number for you. FanDuel has it up. And they're doing a nice 30-cent split on the line, so I guess you could call that a number. Minus
30.
190, take back plus 160, 8.5 under 15. Run line
What
minus 1.5
in
plus
the
oh six.
hell? What's
So
what's
true
the
That's the
odds,
total?
number.
true odds
180.
minus 175. True odds are minus 175 if that line holds.
What's the total?
8.5 to the under. Now Caesars had a phantom 7.5, so you were right about that, Dave. I did see that as well, but FanDuel I thought
Yeah,
might have it up. They're not on the WagerTalk screen, so I looked at them directly, and it's a 30-cent split. So that's
what's
saying the
going
odds should
on
be
with
175, 8.5,
what's going on with
175.
the spreads with the numbers with the baseball? Like seriously, across the just
They're
again
afraid.
one of these quick rants. No, like what's happening to the industry? It's not, and I don't want to sound like the old guy yelling at the clouds, but what are you doing with a baseball split in at the beginning of May at 32 cents? That's the number? Like that's what we're doing? You're seeing it in series prices in the NBA on a lot of different books. Like, and then we got a lot of people watching these shows from all over the country, all over the world, people up in Canada. You got to really shop around the prices because they're
Yeah.
increasing the gaps and they're not giving you a fair number. Like some books are, but they're getting fewer and far between than just being the norm. It's terrible what's going on.
Well, it's the parallelograms
Well,
because they play it.
it's important for us as we have a mouthpiece. Talk about the books that aren't doing this. Books like the Circa here in Las Vegas that continues to, and now Circa's, expanding out. The Westgate, another book that's offering reasonable lines. Who else stands out to you as being books that we should say, hey, this book is doing the right thing? Let's talk about them in a positive light.
I don't know. I mean, I like to look at the numbers here and then compare them nationally. And like, there's some numbers that you're seeing in other places that are just terrible. They're just bad. Yeah, obviously Circuit keeps it 20 cents and but they graduate it. Like baseball 10-cent lines are like, we're going to talk about these in the history books, boys. They're not doing it
Yeah.
anymore because they don't
Yeah.
have to, because the guy down the street isn't. And what it's doing is that it's driving a lot of down south. And I don't mean Texas and Florida. I mean further south, what you like to call globally. I call, one of my original homes was Curacao when I went to live there. Places down there, they're still doing it. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I just know that like you have to look for future prices. Their prices are all over the board. You have to look everywhere. Do yourself a favor, get 6 apps and compare and shop prices. I mean, you would drive an extra 2 miles to get 50 cents better or 10 cents better sometimes on gas. You would drive
Right.
a mile to get a better price on a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk. Why won't you shop prices on these things? Doesn't make any sense.
It's an excellent point, Teddy.
Sure,
I've said that for years. people will try to save, $5 or $10, but they're losing hundreds of these. And by the way, let's keep in mind a 10-cent money line is really a nice price because it's really minus 105 juice on a football bet. So, we have 20-cent lines on every other sport, including totals and run lines in baseball. So, Westgate and also South Point in the Circa for the most part are still giving you 10-cent lines. Very few guys are, but that's the key to baseball. Dave, I'll tell you what, though, we got to get some bad. We haven't touched any NBA yet today, so I want to get your thoughts. It's been easy pickings for several years now just to play the shorthanded team with a couple extra baskets. Is it continuing to work as the Celtics lose outright last night as a good-sized favorite with Embiid out?
It's crazy, right? There wasn't anyone, and I did shows all day yesterday. There wasn't one
Hello?
person. What?
Hello, I had a
Did you do it?
5% big ticket on Philly last night. You got to talk to me.
Congratulations,
All right,
Theodore.
Dave.
That's good because no one talked about it on any show that I was on. And that's good to hear because, listen, sometimes those lines are so inflated. You see it. We've seen it now for years. And in the playoffs, it's just all over the place. So, but I mean, up until yesterday, it's been pretty consistent that if the favorite wins, they cover the spread. And if the dog wins, they win on the money line. That pattern held true again. The Sixers won. Today's games are interesting to me because, man, the Heat were just the better team. And in full disclosure, I watched about 30 seconds of it because it was on early Sunday morning and I was traveling. So I didn't see it, but I saw the numbers. And now the reverse play is coming in today. They're going to play the Knicks. They already have. They already are. It's going up. 5.5s are going to be gone. There'll be some 6s. Did it go to 7 earlier, Teddy?
Yeah, it's coming back the other way right now. Jimmy Butler's been upgraded to probable.
All right, so it
the
went
six
up.
and a halves
Okay.
are gone. The 6s are coming back, and now I'm seeing
Perfect.
5.5s out there.
There you go. And then I don't know, Lakers at Golden State. I mean, being in Vegas for all these years, it's beating it out of me. I mean, watching the Lakers be good, and all these years of people coming in books and talking about how good the Lakers are and taking the bets on the Lakers for years and years and years, they've beaten it out of me. I personally don't want the Lakers to win. A lot of people, a lot of smart people, a lot of those bad guys are on the Lakers to win the West. They're on them to win the championship. They've been on them and talking about them. Good luck. I don't know how they're going to, they don't play defense. And I don't know if the Warriors do either, which would lead you to play the total over. That's where I think, the game one play is. The number's right. Sometimes it just falls, like I don't feel there's a strong play either side in this side. But I think there's going to be a lot of Laker love on the money line as we get a little bit later. But I would only play the Golden State side right now, coming off of the tough series, et cetera, whatever that is.
Dave Sharapan at SportsBK Consig on Twitter, Sportsbook Conciliary. We just got a minute or two left.
Yep.
With Mr. Sharapan today. And Dave, at the top of the show, we talked a little NFL season wins.
Okay.
That market kind of comes into play this week. You have any thoughts? Is there a team you're looking to bet on or against in the NFL season win marketplace?
100% did not watch a single second of the draft. Can't stand it. Can't talk about betting on it. Hated booking it nonstop. Just can't stand it. So, no, there wasn't one thing. I was hoping to come on this week. Prez don't tell me when he ain't coming. I was going to congratulate him on the Maple Leafs actually winning a series and moving on in the NHL playoffs and see if he had Stanley Cup futures on the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are now the favorite to win the Stanley Cup. I can't believe it. So that's the side actually tonight in the game too. But the other one is Seattle and Dallas under. Seattle to score first. They score first every game. All 7 games against Colorado. 1 minute, I'm out. Sports BK Consig for all the shows. That's it. Goodbye.
Dave, you got anything on MLB Network coming up? Got to ask you about that.
Oh, yeah, I did MLB Network yesterday. We go on, they call it the Bettor's Eye. We talk about plays, and then we're talking about stolen bases being up and how do you affect those props. So I did that on MLB Network. We're going to do another thing on MLB Network. The Blue Jays play the Pirates in Pittsburgh this week. I may be on a jet plane on Thursday to be at the games on Friday. We shall see. Derby week, somebody send me to horse plays, please, because I hit the try last year on a ridiculous bet, and I don't have a clue what's going to happen. But, yeah, MLB Network, we're going to find out today where we'll be maybe this weekend.
Awesome. Follow him on Twitter for details at SportsBK Consig, and also listen to him and watch him on Sports Grid TV and listen to him on SiriusXM channel 159. Get on the grid. Dave Sharapan, Sportsbook BK Consig at Twitter. Great show, Teddy. We'll do it again tomorrow on Wednesday. Don't forget, it's $2 Tuesday, WagerTalk.com, but it's also 3 plays for $5. It's $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo, or even better, 3 plays for $5 Tuesday at sportsmemo.com as well. I had a nice sweep last night in baseball. Teddy, I know you've got some best bets, also a free MLB play up. So check out Steve Merrill and Teddy covers as well for Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. We'll do it again tomorrow, Teddy. Take us home.
We sure will. That's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition. Like Steve said, same time, same channel tomorrow, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, you guys know what to do. Enjoy the games, and best of luck with all your wagers.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.